Hi there, welcome back. We're back to the Breisgau, and this time I'm going to tackle the alignment. That is something I've had to do some research on. And it's been a while since I've aligned one of these, so I had to do a bit of touching up on my knowledge. You may recall that I did show you this before. This is the alignment instructions for this particular set. Unfortunately, it's all in German, but where there's a will, there's a way. Let me show you what I came up with. I found a service manual for this particular model. It's a SABA Freiburg 125. It's also the same service manual for the Truhe Baden 125. And this Baden 125 is the donor chassis that I have in my storage den. And it's where I got the motor from. So when I did buy this chassis, I found the schematic and I found something that was very interesting. Let me show you. This is the service manual, and it's got this. Now, this is a set of alignment instructions in German on the left-hand side here, and on the right-hand side, we've got the alignment instructions in English. Now, this allows me to look at the instructions on the left here and compare them to the translated version in English. And so I can take these instructions and some of the wording on these instructions and sort of relate them to the instructions that I have for this particular radio that we're aligning. And although these are very similar to the ones we're going to find, obviously the reference to certain coils and so on is different, but the terms are the same. And the procedure is actually quite similar as well. Obviously this set here is a little bit more advanced than the one I have. This is the Baden 125. So it's a couple of years later, but the instructions are very, very similar. And so it's going to allow me to take that basic set of instructions, this set, and sort of understand what they're going on about when they give me these descriptions here. So I'm going to start doing that, and we'll take it from there. We'll take it one step at a time, and let's see where we have to start. They tell us to connect about 4.5 volts of DC from a low impedance source. So you can use a battery or a power supply. In this case, I'm using a power supply. And they tell you to connect it with a minus to point R and the positive to point Y. And what are they telling us to do here? Well, these points relate to the pins on that test socket that we have there. It's like a 7-pin valve socket, but it's not for a valve or a tube. It's actually for a test rig that they have built up to test these radios and to align these radios. And this Y is actually the ground and R is actually the AGC voltage. Then they tell you to connect a loudspeaker and an AC voltmeter to the output. Can put the loudspeaker switch to the middle, which is the selector at the back. That allows you to play internal, external, or both. The middle is for both. Put your treble down to minimum, so align it to the left or turn it to the left. Select M for medium wave. Activate automatic off. In other words, you don't want the automatic to be working while you're doing this. And you connect a signal generator at 460 kilohertz, which is the IF frequency, 30% amplitude modulation through a 10,000 picofarad capacitor to the grid of the mixer tube ECH81. So far, it's pretty normal, pretty standard, okay? So we'll set that up and then we'll come back to this. Now, the first thing they tell you to do is to connect 4.5 volts. And I've got 4.5 volts selected here in channel 1. The negative is negative. The positive, I've got to go in through a 1K resistor. And the reason I do this is that in the description or the diagram of the test rig they have there, they actually put it through a 1K resistor. I presume this is to prevent shorts. This thing is limited to 20 milliamps anyway. I don't expect it to draw much current at all. But this is going now to the radio. And here it is connected to the radio itself. You can see the positive is connected to a ground lug. And the negative is connected to point D on that socket. It's the third one, and that's described in the service manual. So we've now connected 4.5 volts to the entire AGC line of the radio. That keeps the AGC fixed and doesn't allow it to be affected by the strength of the test signal we're going to feed into the ECH81. I've got the speaker, the external speaker connected. That switch on the left there is the speaker selector switch. It's in the middle. And I've also got the multimeter, or the AC voltmeter, connected there as well. And here's the AC voltmeter set to AC volts. We've got M for medium wave selected over there. And we've got the automatic off connected as well. That's that button over there. And they do tell us to put the treble to a minimum, so that's to the left. Now I've got the signal generator outputting a 460 kilohertz signal. It's at 1.4 millivolts RMS, which is the lowest this one will go. And the modulation is 30% modulation. It's AM modulation, 30% 600 hertz tone, or whatever you want to hear. And we've got the modulation on. We can activate that. I've got the signal going to the stepped attenuator, switched attenuator, which is AC coupled, so there's already a capacitor in line. I don't have to worry about the 10 nanofarad capacitor they talk about. I have at the moment 6 and 9, so 6 and 3 dB, so 9 dB attenuation, and it's coming out, going to the radio. Now the first slot the first transformer we're going to adjust is this one over here, and this is K2628, so coil 26 and coil 28. And the way it works is this is the coupling screw. This is the one you adjust the coupling, the amount of coupling. If you recall, these things allow you to critically couple or uncritically couple. And then this is one of the coils and this is the other coil. So the first thing we need to do is to decouple it critically. So we need to bring this out quite a bit. In fact, I'm not going to bring it out anymore till I can hear the tone. And then we'll bring it out quite a bit. And the idea is you bring this out and then you adjust these two, you tune these two to get the maximum output from your audio level. So let's set that up. Given the radio some power, put the volume up. Looks like our signal is still far too strong, so let's see what I've got here. This really won't go any lower. Put another 12 dB attenuation on there. That's about right. We can see it. I'm going to switch on the AGC, which has been off till now. Okay, so we've got our minus 4.5 volts on there. We shouldn't have any effects now from the AGC. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to decouple this. This is the coupling screw. I'm going to bring it out. We should see it go down. They say you have to decouple it quite a lot. Let's give the signal a bit more. I'm not sure how much you're supposed to. What happened here? It's going up. That is strange. Maybe it's just coupled too much anyway. I think there are two peaks here somewhere. Okay, I don't think I can decouple that anymore. Now I'm going to try and align this. 460 kilohertz. Let's try the one. Whoops. There's a peak. Let's try the other one. This is very sensitive. I think that's sort of peaked it. That is still at the maximum. And now I've got to decrease the coupling till it drops 20%. No, that's not what they're saying. That is not what they're saying. Let me put this on dummy load. What they're telling us to do, there we go, is actually you do it subcritical, which is what we had there, and then you couple it critical till it's the highest peak. I think I've sort of got it at the highest peak, haven't I? There it starts going up again. And it looks like it's going to go up further, so I'm going to reduce that to a minimum again. Now it's critical. Still going up. And then you drop 20%. That's what they're saying. So where am I going to go down 20%? Won't go any more, that's critical. Let me start that again. Hang on a second. I'm going to uncouple this, which is done by going counterclockwise. As we see, this thing gets another peak here somewhere. This thing is really loose, okay? Then we're going to peak it. Let me see if I can peak it again. We're going to peak these guys. I need a longer screwdriver. We'll use the kebab stick. I think that's about as good as I'm going to get. That seems to be as good as I'm going to get. Then you got to turn this guy in to maximum to peak it again, and it's going to drop and come up again. There it starts dropping. And it should start coming up again, yeah. And then you reach a peak, a maximum. And where is that maximum? It's still going on. Let me give it another bit of attenuation. So you're going to hit a maximum. Here's my maximum. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this 1. So I can easily get 20% off there, and then you turn it back counterclockwise till you get 80% of that. And that, I believe, is correct. Yep, I think that's correct. Okay, let's move on. Now we have to do exactly the same thing with this guy over here. So first things first, we'll remove or reduce the coupling. And it should go down. Put more attenuation on. Now we're going to peak these guys over here. It would be good if I could reach it. That was peaked. That was peaked. Now again, we've got to increase the coupling to a max. I think think what happens is that it drops and then it comes up again. I think that's how it works. There we go, it's starting to drop. And it comes up again. Now there it's critically coupled, or there. That's the peak. I'm just going to give this up to 1. And we're going to drop that by 20%. So down to 0.8. That's done. Okay. And now we have to do exactly the same thing with this guy. Except this time, we need to reduce that thing by 80%, 30%. So let's uncouple it. And we will adjust the coils. That one gave us a little bit more. And that one's too far in, so just a little bit more. I think that's peaked. Now we've got to couple it again, or increase the coupling until we get a peak. It'll drop, and then it'll start coming up again. Will it go up further? No. That is our maximum there. Let me put it up to 1. And here they say you're supposed to drop 30%. So now we've got to decouple it till we get to about 0.7 over there. There's 30%. All right, that's done. And that is the end of our IF alignment. Looks like we are done. We have tuned that IF transformer, that IF transformer, and that IF transformer to give us the optimum IF bandpass according to the instructions, and I think we followed them quite well. Good, that's one step done. This is actually what we get when we do a sweep. And what we've got here is, I've got a sweep starting at 7 kilohertz below and stopping at 7 kilohertz above. So 460 is right in the middle. And if we look at this, we've actually got this at 461. Is that any good? I think so, but I don't like that dip in the middle. Let me see. Sweep. Let's start at 450. And let's stop at 470. That's what it looks like. And you know what? I don't know if I can get it any better than that. By this method. This method is not the instructions, obviously. Okay, that's sort of there. Let me show you straight on. This is what we've got. And this is after doing the by the book alignment, I decided to try it my way. And this is the result. Now, I'm getting too much of a dip there. This is just slightly off center. In fact, if I align this to 7, whoops, wrong one. So if I go to 467 and I start at 453, there. So this is 1 kilohertz per division. Yeah, it's slightly off, slightly off. It should be, it's like half a kilohertz off the other way now. Now I can go and play with these guys as much as I want, and I'm not sure that I'm going to improve that. But now I'm doing the full range, and I can in fact see the effect across the full range, which is a help. None of them is moving too much, except perhaps this last one. That centered it. Aha. Okay. Too much. That is as good as it's going to get. Now, let me show you what happens if we move away from that. So I'm going to give it 464, 50, let's see. Okay, that's starting at 446, stopping at 474. Now what we've got is 7 kilohertz, rather 14 kilohertz below, 14 kilohertz above. So each one is 2 kilohertz, and that's as good as it gets. Okay, I'm going to stop here for now, see how it works. And what I would like is for anybody who has any comments to make, I really would appreciate your comments on this procedure and the result. If this is anything like what, if you've had experience on this, anything like what you've got. And before I carry on with the rest, because this has been a combination of following the instructions and doing it visually, and I don't want to mess it all up and then find out somebody's got a better suggestion. So I'm going to stop this one here for now, and we'll carry on in the next video very soon. I hope you've enjoyed that. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed the video, click like, share, subscribe, and all that jazz, and I'll see you back soon. Bye for now. Stay safe.